They want us out of Cambridge. This is one of the richest cities in the world and one of the most corrupt.
The lower rungs of society appeared to be expendable and ignored.
I was homeless a lot of time, drunk a lot, drugs heavily.
If you are on the way down, easier to continue going down than it is to get back up again.
Cambridge, Colchester, Bury St Edmunds, London, Portsmouth, New York, Detroit, Chicago, Moscow. I've never seen a city like this.
There is a problem, obviously.
Council might need to do a little more to make people a bit more hopeful.
If they don't want people to have sleep, give them somewhere to go.
Do you trust the council?
No.
Do you think they care about you?
No. People that are meant to help us do nothing.
Stereotypically, Cambridge is seen as a wealthy hub for high-tech industry and bright young minds. There's a lot to like about what the city can potentially offer someone. On the surface, it would sound like an area with opportunities for everyone.
So what is it that you guys like about Cambridge?
I feel like I just like the general atmosphere and I don't know, just how beautiful it is. You feel like you're walking around a museum all the time.
The academic community, of course. So many things. I really like living here because it's so multicultural. There's so much going on.
Probably to do with the history and the fact that it's had such a huge impact on the world. When you think that the atom was first split, DNA was first discovered, Newtonianism starts here, the world has been changed because of Cambridge.
So would it surprise you that Cambridge is the UK's statistically highest ranked city for inequality and for wealth disparity?
In some ways yes, but at the same time no. I lived in Oxford previously. Terrible city. And there it was more obvious with the inequality.
I knew about this, I already heard this. I'm not surprised.
No, I actually wouldn't be surprised. Like walking around the streets, it's so apparent there's such a huge inequality of wealth.
My name is Arrow, spelled A-R-O. Out here I'm known as Angel. I spend all my time, all day, every day, walking around looking after all of this lot. The Mayor of Cambridge claims there's 17 homeless in Cambridge. Walk around any time of the day, not just the city centre, you've got the Grafton train station, the parks, the rivers. There's a lot more of us than that. We're not represented. Some of the hostels, they're looking at closing, which is going to put more people on the street. Yeah, they're food banks, but they give you tin food, things you have to cook. You can't cook anything when you live in shop doorways. We don't want to beg. The people realise how degrading and humiliating that is. Sit on the ground in the cold, the rain, the snow, asking complete strangers for a little bit of kindness. And the people that are meant to help us do nothing. On the 11th, at least 9 of us, the latest I heard was possibly 25, are in court for rough sleeping, begging, basically being a public order issue. They don't want to admit there's a problem, they want to pass it off to the next town, the next city. We're not leaving, we're not giving up. We are people. We do this because unfortunately, for different reasons, this is our life.
The community of Cambridge are sympathetic and do what they can to help people in need. One example is Jackie Brown, who gives out the big issue for free for people to sell and make money. We met with her and someone who benefits from this, Eamon, who is ex-homeless.
I think it's wonderful. It really does help people get back on track with their lives. I've seen it happen with my own eyes, so it's brilliant.
And you give people here like free drinks and stuff?
I do, yeah.
It's just the way to like help?
Yeah. Especially in the winter, when it's cold, and these people, they're on the streets, all day, so
Why do you think homelessness is particularly bad in Cambridge?
Do you know, I really don't know why. It's such a rich city. There shouldn't be the homeless problem there is in Cambridge.
And listen, I'm behind homelessness, but see when they start making a mess and giving people cause grief, and then I'm not with it at all. Sorry. Come. And I'll show you. Look at that. And then I wonder why they want them out of the city. Look at this.
The reality is that mess is a byproduct of the issue. They have nowhere else to go and keep their belongings. One of the charities fighting on the front line in Cambridge is the New Meaning Foundation, located in Waterbeach, just outside of Cambridge.
I'm John Evans, and I'm the Chief Executive Officer of the New Meaning Foundation.
I'm Peter, I'm the technical lead, sort of like John's right-hand man really here.
So we wrote a programme based around logotherapy, which is a form of therapy which interprets your actions in the sense of what they mean to you, what they mean to others, what they mean against the greater context of life, and aims to help people find a sense of meaning. So we took that programme and then we developed it into schools, into prisons, into young offender institutes. What our competitors, if you will, in this sector do is generally to produce homes from a factory. So they don't really result in any gain for young people in the production. They do effectively provide a home for an ex-homeless person. But what our system does as well as that is to produce some jobs, some training, life change, increased self-confidence.
John's got a lot of connections locally with homeless charities, with services for people that maybe are struggling a little bit at times. So that all those connections, all that networking, it all comes to fruition in the end. You know, we were worried we weren't going to get any students, and then all of a sudden there's hundreds of them. You know, so
it's an all-round education in a short space of time. And these young people, very often they might have ADHD or they might have some form of learning issue. They might have had trauma in their lives. Quite a lot of them had very traumatic experiences in their lives. Maybe that's the mission of New Meaning, to help people to make the change in their life which will move them forward in their way, at their speed.
Do you trust the local government to help with things?
I think probably more so now than perhaps 10, 20, 30 years ago. And I think it's quite difficult to know what they're doing unless you're really into that. And I'm not particularly. So I wouldn't want to badmouth the local government. I think the City Council have done a lot. Although if you compare us to lots of other countries, in theory we're doing a lot of good stuff. And we probably are doing a lot of good stuff. It's just we could do more. We are such a wealthy country. It's incredible. For projects we have on New Meaning Foundation are building affordable homes for ex-homeless people. So we're doing that actively. We've been doing that for the last 3 years. We've built 12 of these homes so far. We've just received an order for 6 more.
Now, how much roughly does it cost to build one of these?
Well, it's changing almost by day at the moment. So when we did the first ones of these a couple of years ago, it cost about £40,000 to build one of these. So they get quite a basic kitchen, but it's a decent size for a single person. And then you've got a living area, which would be here. So usually they have a settee here, TV over here. This is the bathroom, shower room. So they get a shower, a loo, wash basin, a washer, dryer behind here. Then you've got a single bedroom here. And that is more or less it. So it's a fairly basic and yet decent accommodation for one person.
John offered to show us a real-life example of how these microhomes help. Eamon, who we met earlier, was housed in one of them.
My name's Eamon Kelly. I'm 50 years of age, from Belfast. I originally came to Cambridge 14 years ago because I was on the streets in Jimmy's night shelter, and then they moved me into a 1-bedroom shared house. So this place is, I'm living on my own. I see my daughter, I see my kids a couple of times a month now. So I'm back in touch with my family. I was just over in Ireland last week seeing my family. So it's made a big difference to me. It's given me independence.
While the homes have been beneficial for some, they are not a permanent solution. Later in the week, we met up with Angel to speak to him about his court case.
A lot of us out here, the homeless community, were served with papers just over a week ago. Rough sleeping, begging, street drinking, being a public nuisance. Well, first off, people being taken to court for rough sleeping on the streets, what do you expect them to do? This is our house. People live in Cambridge, we live on Cambridge. I became homeless because during my last tour of service, my supposed fiancée at the time sold my house, 2 companies I owned, 3 cars, took my 2 youngest children. I come back from serving, I had nothing, I had no one. And then I found out that Luna, especially, was on the streets here, and I'd known her for a long time. If I'm going to be on the streets and I know she's on the streets, I'm coming here and I'm looking out for her. Only people I have are the rest of the homeless. You know, just over a handful of us class ourselves as family. We're dysfunctional, most families are. We're not blood related, but we're closer than most families are. They don't offer anything. They're basically trying to control us and push us out, thinking we'll leave and go to another town or city. But if we do that, then all that means is we're sleeping in doorways in another town or city. It doesn't solve the situation, it doesn't help it, it just makes it someone else's problem. I can only speak for me because, like I say, the rest of them didn't turn up. My particular case, I can still be in the city centre, I can still carry on generally as I normally do. I'm not allowed to be drunk in the city centre, so I'm still allowed to drink because they understand I'm an alcoholic. I'm not allowed to be drunk in the city centre. I'm not allowed to be loud, swearing, abusive, which I'm generally not. Only time I'm allowed is when I have my music. But yeah, the main thing is at least I can still be in the city centre because I need to look after that lot, especially the girls, because they're why I come to Cambridge in the first place, to look after them. I've actually come out of court feeling pleased how it went and quite positive that hopefully things can move forward.
Despite Angel's positivity, injunctions were secured against him and 5 others, preventing them from begging and sleeping on the street in the city centre. We wanted to meet with Angel again, but the decision had a big emotional impact on him, and he was not willing to speak with us. Moving them on doesn't solve the problem, it only becomes another city's problem.